Okay, so this is a video right here called Spin Force Frequency. That's the basic principle. And what I'm kind of showing here is spin force ordering and spin force layers. The first principle of all of this is essentially a general principle of, you might not be able to read that, doesn't matter. What it says is that every interaction is a spin force interaction between spin forces and counter spin forces. Let me read that again. Every interaction is a spin force interaction between spin forces and counter spin forces. So there's a couple other points. This one I'm not sure if it's entirely accurate, but I just wanted to put it in with this drawing, this whole concept of spin force frequency or spin force frequencies. Every force or substance is a distinct frequency of spun ether. So the idea is that the whole principle of an ether underlying everything, that is probably more than likely true, and that everything that you see, all the different substances and forces are spun ether. They're spun out of or spun with the fundamental principle of ether. Now, another point is kind of similar to the yin and yang principle, which is that one spin force is always flowing into another spin force. So here's this drawing that I have. What I have is a human being, and what I've done is kind of something comparable to what they do with the aura kind of pictures, which is I've broken up the human being into 7 spin force layers. So what's interesting though is that I haven't posited any kind of supernormal or metaphysical kind of substances or properties. All I'm suggesting is that there are, for the human being, and of course I think the same thing would go for many other things that we see in life, that there are, for the human being, 7 spin force layers, and those spin force layers would be a solid spin force layer, a liquid spin force layer, a gaseous spin force layer, a plasma spin force layer, a spin force layer of light, a spin force layer of electricity, and a spin force layer of magnetism. And then there may be this more fundamental, as I was saying, this concept of a spun ether, that all of these substances or forces, magnetism, electricity, light, plasma, gas, liquid, solid, that they could be spun out of this fundamental substance of ether. And that all of these patterns, all these spins, which are spin forces that are flowing one into another, and that all of these interactions of spin forces and counter spin forces can be described very simply with a very simple kind of diagram or model, which I've done another video, and it's called a spin force fractal. And the spin force fractal is just this this drawing here of a primary spin with a secondary counter spin ring, and then a tertiary tertiary counter spin rings again. So you have this primary spin that's spinning one way, and then this secondary spin ring that's spinning in the opposite direction, and then the tertiary spin rings, which is a number of spin rings that are spinning in the other direction. And you can see this pattern in everything in nature. And I think that if you turn it if you twist it out three-dimensionally and you spin it out spirally, I think that you can actually take this pattern of spin force fractaling or spin force fractal pattern and map out all of the spin forces that shape everything in nature, from the magnetic, the electric, the light, plasma, gas, liquid, solid, and you'll see that everything in nature operates according to spin principles, which I will discuss in the next video. Thanks.